Today is day 11 of 30 of sharing my aligned success experiment. And today I want to talk a little bit about the cost of not following or aligning with my design. And I think, especially as projectors, it's really common for us to have been living very heavily in conditioning, especially in terms of how we work, because we are non sacral and we don't have that consistent access to energy. And it's really easy for projectors to almost become super slaves. There are times when, as a projector, I get big bursts of energy and I can get a lot done really, really quickly, especially if it is something that is correct. If it's something I'm excited about, if it's something where I feel like I get to use my natural gifts and strengths, where if it's something that I've been invited to do. And there are a lot of times when I've been afraid to stop working when I've been in one of those bursts, because I know very well that if I stop, I may never get back to that place of that same energy and motivation and excitement about doing that thing. So there are lots of things that I've started and been really high energy and done a lot of work on and made a lot of progress and not finished. And then that thing actually never got finished because I couldn't get back to that place. So a lot of times in my past, I've had a hard time when I've been in one of those bursts to let myself stop. And I've continued to push well beyond where I should have stepped away out of fear that I wouldn't be able to finish, that I wouldn't be able to get back there. And in doing that, then it got to the place where it was harder for me to do. Maybe I made mistakes. But really, once I finished that work in that misaligned energy from that place of pushing and out of fear of not being able to finish and follow through, that work that I did was not received the way that I had hoped. So there have been a lot of times where I've put a lot of time and energy into creating something, into building something, into something that I was super energized around doing and felt really passionately that I wanted to be able to create and share with other people. And then it was almost like it was invisible. And so that, I think, is one of the hardest things for me in my work life, is all of the time and energy I've put into things that didn't feel like they were successful. And so it's really interesting to be in this experiment now, where I actually have no idea how this is going to turn out. And it can be challenging to let myself share kind of, it's like the before picture, right? Like if you ever did like a before and after picture of a weight loss, it feels really uncomfortable to take that before picture. And it definitely is really uncomfortable to share it at the beginning of that weight loss journey. It's a little bit easier at the end when you have the before next to the after and you feel really good about that transformation. You feel really good about what you achieved during that weight loss journey. And seeing the after looks better because it had the before, and you can see the change and you can see the growth and you can see the progress. So to be sharing this now, when it's still in that in between stage, I'm not fully at the beginning. I've definitely have made a lot of changes and had a lot of transformation, a lot of growth. I probably never could have shared like this when I was in the beginning of this journey, because there was such a loud voice in my head telling me that I wasn't enough, telling me and expecting people to not get it, not understand it, because I had a whole life of that experience, or that no one would care, no one would watch it, it wouldn't actually impact anyone in the way that I wanted it to. And it still is a little uncomfortable to share while I'm in this in-between stage, this not quite at the end yet, and I don't actually know what the results will be. And it's coming from a place of really believing and trusting that this work that I feel so called to do and that I feel so called to share, when you follow it, it will actually work. And so, but yeah, some of the things that happen for me as a projector when I'm not doing things in a aligned place is I don't get invitations. when I do try to share, it's not received well, or it's not even noticed, or, it just kind of goes blind. I don't know if you've ever been in, projectors don't always do really well in big group settings. Projectors tend to do best one-on-one. There are exceptions to that, as there are exceptions to everything. But for me, definitely, I have the easiest time connecting with other people when it's just in a one-on-one situation. Once you bring in another person, then you start to be in penta energy, which is a human design term, and definitely one that's really important in small business. And I won't go too far into that in this video, but the energy dynamics completely change. And the energy that dominates when you're in 3 to 15 people, when you're in penta energy, there's a lot of the strengths for projectors that don't get acknowledged. And so in a group setting, like at a party, or, in a group of people, it's really common for projectors to feel like they can't even get a word in. The conversation's going, and the generators, with their magnetic enveloping aura and energy and all of their creative life force energy, they kind of dominate the conversation, and the projector wants to jump in, but it just never seems or feels like there's that opportunity. And when they do, it's like the other people in the group just kind of talk over them. So I don't know if you're a projector and you can relate with that experience, but that's pretty common. I definitely have had lots of experiences like that in my life. And, with growing up with 4 siblings and having a family of 7, I was always kind of in that group energy, and in lots of different experiences in my life have been in a group energy. And it's not to say that I can't do well in a group energy. There are some things in my human design chart where I do have some natural strengths that do shine in that group dynamic. But it's really important for me to wait to be invited. If I try to just jump in, that's when I'm likely to feel ignored or unseen or unheard or undervalued or underappreciated, and it's not a fun place to be. And definitely one-on-one. And when you are in that place of not needing to be validated, not needing to be heard, not needing to feel like you fit in, and you're just letting yourself just enjoy the moment and be your authentic self, that's when you shine that light that is going to draw in those right people, like a lighthouse. I love the lighthouse analogy for projectors. Projectors really are meant to be the lighthouse. They're meant to just shine their light and let their amazing gifts and abilities and strengths and talents draw in the right people at the right time, not because they're trying to make it happen. Yeah, there was the analogy of the lighthouse when I did my law of attraction coaching certification, in one of the books that they required us to read, where it was like the lighthouse was like had legs and arms, and it was like running up back and forth on the cliff trying to get the boat's attention. And that isn't how a lighthouse works. And not all of the boats are going to need that light. Some of them are going to have their own lights and their own navigation systems that help them to safely find their way to the shore or to the dock. But if the lighthouse were just up and down running and trying to get the attention of the boats that didn't need them and didn't need their light, then they wouldn't be there shining the light for the people that did, or the boats that did need that light to help them safely get to shore or get into the dock. And that's so true for projectors too. So that's definitely an analogy that really landed for me when I did that certification, way before I knew I was a projector. But especially now that I understand that really is what it's like for the projector that's meant to be the guide. And the key really comes in letting yourself just shine your light, and not frantically running back and forth on the shore, trying to get noticed, trying to say the right thing, trying to put yourself in the right place. But just let yourself firmly plant in who you are and where you're meant to be, and trust that when the time is right, you will be that light that's needed in the world. So if you're a projector, let me know what you think about the lighthouse analogy. If that lands and resonates for you, I'd love to hear it. And I will see you in the next video.